record.
Hello, welcome to Job Crafting for Librarians, Room to Grow. My name is Sarah Van Sickle, the Resource Management Librarian at Yorkville University.
Good day, my name is Paul Graham. I've worked as the University Librarian for Yorkville University since 2010. So what is job crafting? We've provided a very sophisticated definition from a systematic review of job crafting definitions. However, we can identify a core value of job crafting as thinking differently about your work and shaping it to be more meaningful to you. Now, I'm going to start with some non-librarian examples. ESL teachers that adapt their practices to align with their values and beliefs. Nurses in Korea participating in leisure activities for increased happiness. And women in the male-dominated field of IT participating in professional development and on-the-job training. All of these have in common is crafting or shaping their work in meaningful ways. So there are two dominant models in job crafting. The originating model from 2001 that divides crafting into task, relational, and cognitive crafting. So task is just that, task management. Relational has to do with your relationships, your networks. And cognitive crafting, probably the most important, is it challenges the individual to reconceptualize their work. The other dominant model is the JDR model, where crafting is divided into two main categories: job demands that negatively impact your work and job resources that positively impact your work. Here's an example of that citation where the GDR model comes from. One of the most important benefits of job crafting is improved worker satisfaction. Much of the empirical literature describes improved engagement and autonomy.
One of the main challenges is organizational support. So job crafting is not changing your entire job. It's about adapting your job to fit your needs. It does imply that there's a challenge with the current structure that is not being met. It is also an opportunity for management to empower staff. You may or may not already be job crafting and not be aware of it. So the job crafting questionnaire is used to determine the extent you are or are not job crafting. It's general and not for a specific profession. It can be used by management to determine how many employees are job crafting to create programs to help their ability to job craft. Paul and I are currently working on a systematic review of job crafting and librarianship. Next, please. We were only able to identify 3 articles related to job crafting and librarianship. The first article from 2023 surveyed academic librarians to see what extent of job crafting they participated in during COVID-19. Some librarians discussed the challenges they encountered, but many identified a lot of benefits to job crafting. The second article looked at pro-social job crafting, which is a form of job crafting that is used in people's work that has a positive impact on other people's lives. The motivation to help others is important in the decision to job craft. Stainer argues that job crafting can reduce burnout by incorporating an employee's values. This is an example of task crafting that I engaged in. I overheard students and people that worked in student finance discussing tuition. It seemed like many students did not anticipate how much their tuition would actually cost. When I was an undergraduate student, I applied for many scholarships, and I thought it could be helpful to share some of the information that I learned as a student with our current students in order to help them reduce their financial burden. So I researched scholarship websites that I had not used when I was a student because I I thought that some of our students would be eligible for different scholarships that I did not use and was not eligible for. So I took on the additional task of researching and sharing scholarship websites with students.
In this case, our information literacy librarian expanded her network of orientations by considering all those departments that are student-facing and ensuring they had up-to-date information on the library. So she was engaged in relational crafting. In this case, without realizing it, I was engaged in cognitive crafting by accepting textbook management as a library services responsibility. The benefits allowed me to directly connect one-to-one with faculty and then use that connection with instructors to promote library services. But note, job crafting doesn't mean saying yes to every task. I was recently asked about the idea of having a library staff member double check the links in our online courses. Well, this new task, however, didn't add any value to library services. It didn't expand our relationships. It didn't improve meaning or reconceptualize the work for us. It was just an administrative task that really anybody could be doing. So I was able to successfully argue against this being a library services responsibility. Put simply, we have a few very direct recommendations. Librarians are going to engage in job crafting. So it's beneficial for library management to formally integrate job crafting into job design and even promotion. We recommend you adopt job crafting models and questionnaires for your own environment and projects. We also recommend thinking differently about your role. What would your role be like if you thought of yourself as a knowledge broker in your resource sharing projects? So brokers exist in that space between those who produce and consume knowledge. Knowledge brokering stresses key skills for connecting knowledge to people and people to people. There's a direct relationship and comparison between knowledge brokering, networking for knowledge exchange and sharing, and also relational crafting. So knowledge brokering offers a different way to approach your position.
To evaluate the impact of a new resource management sharing strategy using the original model, you can ask yourself, how will new resource sharing initiatives impact task management? Will new resource sharing strategies expand your network? Will new initiatives renew a librarian's perception of their role?
There are also benefits using the JDR model by simply accounting for those things that will contribute positively to the role or those things that will contribute negatively to the role. Our main recommendation, though, is not to think of job crafting as a way to identify new forms of resource sharing, though that is a possibility, but rather that in every resource sharing strategy, job crafting provides an evaluative framework to help you assess its impact. And finally, just to note, if you're interested in this literature, we have a publicly accessible Zotero group online. And of course, you're welcome to contact us with follow-up questions. Thank you.